Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to P4P TV. This is Michael and it's been a while, but I'm back. The boxing gods giveth and the boxing gods taketh away. Recently, not long before this upload, breaking news that the anticipated fight between Imantas Stanionis and Virgil Ortiz Jr. has been postponed yet again, this time after Ortiz Jr. suffered a bout of rhabdomyolysis. On the same week, confirmation that Fury vs Usyk talks have been broken off completely and don't look like they will resume. Many boxing aficionados did not hold out hope that that fight would be made, and the confirmation proved those suspicions to be on the money. But fear not, because on the same week, a date for Haney vs Lomachenko was secured. Also, the rescheduled Stephen Fulton vs Naoya Inoue bout has a new date that's locked in on the 25th of July. Another date to watch and happening much sooner than those tantalising fights takes place in Cardiff, Wales on the 22nd of this month, April, between Shavkat Rakhimov versus Joe Cordina. Cordina will be looking to reclaim his IBF belt currently held by Rakhimov after being unceremoniously stripped by the IBF. It promises to be an epic showdown on an eye-opening night of fights, so stay tuned. Shavkat Sher Khan Rakhimov often forces his opponents to succumb to his sheer pressure and force. The current IBF super featherweight champ in only 18 fights has proven to be a force to be reckoned with, and thus far, his only stumbling block was against the far more experienced fighter in Jojo Diaz back in 2021. Then, Diaz had only lost once before in his, at the time, 32 pro fight career, and that was to the WBC featherweight champ Gary Russell Jr. That fight between Diaz and Russell at featherweight saw Russell successfully defend his title, a title that he had held for a number of years. The Rakhimov and Diaz fight at super featherweight ended in a majority decision draw, and it was Rakhimov's first bite at the IBF 130-pound title. Diaz came into that fight a little too portly on the scale, and so the title was only on the line for Rakhimov, but alas, it was not to be. However, Rakhimov would get his shot again in late 2022 against talented and sharp-shooting Brit Zelfa Barrett. Despite a knockdown in the third round, Rakhimov was able to recover and eventually take Barrett out in a ninth via TKO, earning himself the IBF title. 17 wins, 0 losses, and 1 draw, with 14 of those victories coming by way of knockout or technical knockout. Rakhimov exemplifies one of the tenets of the Eastern Bloc school of boxing, the seek and destroy pressure tactics that is synonymous with fighters from that region. Granted, we see a little more upper body movement and dynamism in Rakhimov's movement around the ring than what is traditionally and stereotypically associated with the more upright and stiffer style of Eastern European fighters of old. We're seeing a development in Rakhimov's head movement and feinting game too. It's coming along, but still, he is a counter-puncher's wet dream. We've seen in his fights that he's particularly susceptible to uppercuts and hooks. Past opponents, Azinga Fusile, Barrett and Diaz, to name a few, were all able to time, anticipate and counter Rakhimov's movements, and it's the aforementioned shots and targets that have caused the southpaw all kinds of trouble. Rakhimov's chin has been tested. For me, the jury is still out, and against someone like Cordina, who is patient and will look to counter you with something clean and hard. And just like Rakhimov, Cordina can crack. The question for me is, will Shavkat's chin hold up? Joe the Welsh Wizard Cordina first claimed the IBF super featherweight title with a violent exclamation mark against Kenichi Ogawa back in mid-2022. In that fight, Cordina waited for his opportunity to land something significant, and after feinting with a jab to Ogawa's body, Cordina immediately followed up with a massive right cross that sent Ogawa straight to the airport, ticket in pocket, and on a first plane back to Tokyo. The second round knockout illustrated Cordina's patience, timing, and power. More than half of Cordina's 15 pro fights have ended by way of KO or TKO, with no losses or draws on his record. The only reason Cordina doesn't still have his IBF title now is due to a right hand injury that ruled him out of facing his mandatory at the time and current upcoming opponent, Rakhimov. And so, only 4 months into his reign as IBF super featherweight champ, he was stripped. Many called out the IBF's double standards and their apparent favourable treatment of some champions over others. Nevertheless, the ruling stood. Winning the IBF this time around after never losing it in the ring will make Cordina two-time world champion and no doubt will come with a sweet sense of recompense, albeit earned the hard way. Cordina has the tools to do this. It's a boxer versus pressure fighter situation, but one where the ability of the boxer can overcome the shortcomings of the pressure fighter. Like I said, Rakhimov is wide open to counter shots when he steps in. He reminds me to some extent of Ruslan Provodnikov, only not as wild and with a more questionable chin than Ruslan, and with not as much scar tissue. Rakhimov can push his opponent to the ropes, also like Ruslan, but he often doesn't maul his opponent when they're there, and with a fighter like Cordina who can slip out using angles and make space for himself, Rakhimov might struggle to pin Cordina down. Add to this the opening in Rakhimov's defense when he's coming forward. Cordina can strike and move and rack up the points. Winning at home in front of a home crowd could be one way that this fight goes. But Cordina needs to be careful because Rakhimov has a high punch output as opposed to a typically more reserved approach from Cordina. And if Cordina starts off too slow, he could see the rounds get away from him early. If I'm wrong, I'm happy to remove my shoe and kick a rock, but I don't see this fight going to points. I believe Joe Cordina will have some scary moments against Rakhimov, but then he catches Rakhimov with something hard, testing Rakhimov's chin, which I believe will fail the test. Rakhimov will wobble on unsteady legs and Cordina will finish him off. I have Cordina by knockout late in the fight. Remember to jab that like, share, subscribe, and notification bell. Check out our Patreon page to become a Patreon family member where you'll receive some cool perks. If you're looking for some new threads, we've got t-shirts, hoodies, and much more, so head on over to our Michael Akobi P4P TV stores. They can be found on Redbubble and Spreadshop. Join me on my travels and head on over to my other YouTube channel titled Barefoot and Free. There you can follow me as I traverse the many parts of our planet and occasionally get into a spot of bother. Nonetheless, it's always fun and entertaining. If you're struggling with some of life's obstacles and challenges, my book How to Get Out of Life Traps might just be the answer that you're looking for to help guide you through the difficult times. It's helped many get past some of their darkest moments, and it might do the same for you. You can purchase it on Amazon, where you can also find a wide range of my other works. Those works include screenplay to book adaptations, a fairly unique concept, with genres covering comedy, heist and revenge, drama, supernatural and crime, if that's more your cup of tea. You can find them by following the link provided. Thank you for watching P4P TV. Please remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell for future updates. See you in the next one.